Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the final Smashtopia episode of Season 3 of Super Casperless. As always, I'm Zantok, otherwise known as Lister. That over there is Jonno, otherwise known as Jonathan. He's doing his usual thing. And we're here for, as I've already said, the final Smashtopia of the season. Of circuits and claws, as was teased in our previous Thanos game episode. Because Jonno had the fun idea in season 1 to give a little mystery name to our final Smashtopia episode of our season. And while at the time I was just like, why? I didn't fight it, so we're doing it for season now, I guess. Fuck it, why not? Eventually, we're gonna have a hard time coming up with a name for it, which is to be like, I don't know, man. We'll figure it out when we get there.
Of chicken and wings.
Yes, but for this one, as we like to do with these ones, our finale episodes, we're covering two different characters today that each of us have built solo. We're not combining movesets here today. We just made our own characters, and we're basically going to share them with both each other and all 1.5 of you that are listening. On top of that, we like to have a theme for when we do these episodes. Season 1, it was characters that, while they were technically possible for Smash, they would never happen. So we had the Polar Bear from Ice Climber and the Trapper from Dead by Daylight. Season 2, it was fourth party characters. So we had Steven Universe and Aang from Avatar. This time around, we are going back to our own individual roots when it comes to creating characters for Smash. We're going back to the old Mercurious days that we've talked about before. For me, this is the very first character that I ever made a moveset for. For Jonno, I don't know if it was your first, but it was definitely one of your first. I think it might have been your second, actually. Because I think your first was the elf bowling elf, if I remember correctly.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which is just like wild that that's what you opened with. It's like, alright. But what we're gonna be going back and forth as we always do. So, Jonno, why don't you go ahead and start us off? We're gonna start with your character here for everything we do today, and then I'll follow up.
Okay.
Why don't you give us the introduction on who your character is and maybe why you chose them, or whatever the hell you want to talk about.
Okay. Sounds like a plan. The first thing I'll say is that the 1.5 people listening to this podcast is actually just me. Secondly, the character that we're doing today is not the elf bowling elf. That was my first. I would dare say it's not my best idea I've ever had. When I was 13 years old in 2007 or 8. In 2007, I was obsessed with playing elf bowling on my mom's mobile phone. Not even an iPhone, a flip phone, kids. Yeah. And so I made it into a moveset. And while it's not what we're approaching today, I do want to give it a quick nod because it was my first. And because it being my first was kind of telling of my character at the very least. Opening the floodgates for this hellscape that is Jonno. Number 2, though. Yeah, I think he was my second submission. I can't confirm that off the top of my head, but it was definitely an earlier one. An onslaught of different Fire Emblem characters that I submitted. Even more than the actual Smash Ultimate roster. I think it was about like 80, 90 characters from Fire Emblem I did as a kid. On Mercurious.
There were a lot. You were not the only person that gave a lot of them, but it was you and I think it was you and Nobisawa that were the ones doing like all of Fire Emblem characters. It's like, and sometimes it was just like, oh, this one random enemy general that only appears one map and then he dies. Let's make a moveset for that guy. It's like,
yeah,
what?
Yeah, that was me with Fire. That was me with Fire Emblem and Zelda, and that was Nobusawa with Dynasty Warriors, Samurai Warriors, Fire Emblem, and other. Like God. Went on to the mod queue when I became a mod all those years later, and found out that you guys were not you, but individuals were laughing behind our backs about it. They're like, Jonno and Nobusawa, right? I was like, hey, that's a pretty big pony. Rest in peace. So, Ranulf from Fire Emblem Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn is the character that we will be approaching today. A Cat Lagoose, the vessel to King Kanagus, the
I'm sorry, say that again? Kanagus?
Yeah,
Kinda
I thought the same.
guess. I say kinda
Okay.
guess.
I don't know. We come across
Wow.
different. Yeah,
Wild. I mean, Fire
all the
Emblem
time.
says it's Shida
Yeah.
from the first game. It's like, I'm sorry, no. There's no Shida in that name. I'll say
hmm
Sida. I'll say Kaida. I
hmm
ain't saying Shida. Fuck no.
hmm The Japanese is Sheeta, but as far as
Sure. And if they wanted to
Caeeda
be Shida
goes,
in the English version, spell it differently.
yeah, yeah, I can get behind that.
CAE is
Okay.
not she. It's Kai
hmm
or
hmm
K.
Yeah, yeah. I always thought it was Caeeda, but yeah. How do you pronounce it? Kind, I guess.
Yeah, kind of guess is
Kind
how
of
I've
okay.
always say it. Like,
Kind of guess. Cane guess. Cane geese. Kind
man, that's
kind
probably images
jizz.
of Zangief. Shit.
Okay, well, luckily we won't be saying that name too many times, but he's the vassal to that individual king of Beast Lagoos. And he's also a childhood friend of Ike's, and they grew up together when Ike's father, Grail of the Grail Mercenaries, was romancing his mother in Gallia when they were children. Uh, Also, a potential uh, supposed romantic partner for Ike as well. So he is very prominent in Path of Radiance, a little less so in Radiant Dawn, but overall one of the more influential, probably the most
The most
forward
influential
promoted
Lagoos, at least.
Lagoos. Yeah,
Yeah.
him. It's either him or Tabarn, and I'd give the edge to him. Yeah. So that's my guy. How about you?
So for me, as mentioned, this is my very first character I ever made a move set for. In fact, I made two move sets for them and submitted them both on the same day. This is a character whose games I love. I've recorded three of them, and I've recorded four of them, and I want to get to the other two at some point before I die. It's my boy, the legend himself, MegaMan.EXE of the Mega Man Battle series. There's been a lot of Mega Men over the years. There's obviously, classic X, EXE, Legends, Star Force. If you count the people from the ZX games, I don't know if people tend to count Ale as a Mega Man or not. But there's a lot of Mega Men, and Mega Man the DXC has always been my Mega Man. Those are the games that I enjoyed playing a lot as a kid. I found the third game at Walmart one day, and I was like, I've heard of Mega Man. My cousin's played that. He played classic Mega Man. I didn't know what this game was. I picked it up and was like, this is fucking fun. This isn't classic Mega Man, and I love it. And then I
hmm
went back and I got one, I got two, and then 4, 5, and 6 as they released. And they're incredibly fun games. It's an action. It's not a turn based. It's an RPG, but it's not turn based, and it's not really like an action RPG uh, like Ghost of Tsushima kind of is,
hmm
or Nier Automata. It's you get a random encounter, and you have like a 3x3 grid that you run across, and you shoot enemies on the other side of it, while also having deck building elements because you have to build a deck of attacks, and it's randomly going to give you some attacks to choose from. And depending on the game, there's some different rules on which attacks you can choose, how many of them, and in what. Not necessarily in. Actually, no, the Star Force series does actually have an order to it too, even, which is weird to me. But sometimes you can pick only one out of the five it gives you, and then whatever one you pick, that's what you have for the next 90 seconds. You can use it once, and when the timer comes up, you can get you have the option of the four previous chips again, and one new chip that comes up that you can choose between. And I fucking love the games. I've It's Mega Man. I made a moveset for him that was revolving around him using different chips, and I made a second moveset for him that used around his different transformations that he gets in some of the games. I think I mainly based it off of Battle 3 and 4 for the transformation. I think primarily 4. I think that might have been the newest game out at that point. I'm not
hmm
sure. I don't remember when the games came out. The games came out within like a year or two of each other. They cranked those suckers out.
Oh yeah.
You can kind of tell, but they're still good games. But I'm here to talk about Mega Man. Something else I'll also say about this character. Last season, I teased a character to you that was going to have 80 special moves.
Mm-hmm.
We are finally at that character.
Oh God.
It's
Oh God.
MegaMan.EXE
Oh
has
Lord.
80 special moves. I won't be covering all 80 of them because it's fucking
I was wondering
crazy.
about that. Yeah.
Something else I'll mention. I started working on him. I settled on this character. I started working on him in between when we did the Yuri Lowell episode and the Dr. Mario episode. That's when construction on this character started. That was June of last year. It is now September.
Christ.
It's been a long time coming. I've been sitting on this guy for a long time. And I am very excited to finally get to show him off today.
Oh my God.
I am fucking ready for it. He has a mechanic that we'll get to before we talk about the special moves, because I have to discuss the mechanic before we get to the special moves.
My God. I should have seen it coming. I mean, it's in hindsight, it's so obvious.
Yeah.
In hindsight, it's so obvious. Because it's like, what characters have that ability? He does. He does. I mean, I can sprain cogs spinning in my head, but we'll get to it. You'll be telling us anytime now.
You want me to tease something else for you? I have another character concept I've thought of after working on him. Because I'll say this before we get to his reveal and everything. His concept is inspired by the way Hero works in Ultimate, but I've taken part of it and twisted it for my own purposes. But then I'm taking part of this mechanic for Mega Man, and I'm taking it and I'm twisting it for another character concept I'm working on for next year. It just keeps getting... That character's going to have less than 80 specials. I think they're only going to have 40. But it's still a thing. I am not mentally sound.
At least this is how you express it.
Yes.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, so the gist of it is these are characters from our deep past shared on Mercurious, and they're both characters that we are passionate about and love.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we both love to see actually get into Smash, even though neither of them realistically have a shot. It's not going to happen.
EXE could happen if they,
Ranulf, I think Ranulf has more of a shot than EXE. If we ever get, even if Classic Mega Man gets replaced with a different Mega Man character, it's not going to be EXE. It's going to be X or Zero. The EXE doesn't have a chance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would have to be very specific. Like, oh, we're going to go from X to 0 to EXE, and then you'd be waiting like 3 more games.
Yeah.
It could be an assist trophy, though. That'd be neat.
That's true. That's true. Yep.
And Ranulf could likely be an assist trophy, too. We got a fair amount of cool Fire Emblem assist trophies now. But yeah, I think he can be playable if you're going into the... His chances increase if we really did get the Radiant games remade, like, exponentially.
Yeah.
And then they say... And then, I think it would be down to, like, Micaiah or a Laguz. And if they say, we want a Laguz...
It'd be either Micaiah, Ranulf, or Black Knight.
All 3 of which I'd be down for. Black Knight, I mean, moveset-wise would be the least interesting, even though I love the character. It's the sword guy.
He's an Ike Echo. He's an Ike Echo.
Fucking cool, dude. But yeah, I agree. In the scope of Smash, he doesn't help Fire Emblem's case.
No.
Micaiah, I mean, light magic, that'd be awesome. Ranulf, probably the biased pick of the 3 for me. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. And as you've probably already figured out, or maybe you haven't, I don't know, we are not going to be doing our classic showcases in today's episode. We're not going to be showing off characters or stage whatever that we've made off podcast, because we've got 2 whole movesets to go over, plus, because both these characters are going to have a lot. We don't have the time for these showcases. So, Jonno, let's begin. How does... tell me about Ranulf. How is Ranulf going to enter the stage when the battle begins?
Yes. So, something I forgot to mention because I was too shell-shocked by your 80 moves for MegaMan.EXE. is that Ranulf actually is also has a little bit of a moveset gimmick, but one that's more traditional to Smash. He transforms between cat and human form.
Okay.
So, and there's 2 different movesets I want to present, with different standard sides, ups, down, so on, so forth. So that includes 2 separate entrance animations. For his cat form, we'll start with cat because I think we'll lead with cat because I think that's what, if there was only one form to get into Smash, it's obviously that, and it's what people expect. So getting it out of the way. For his entrance, simple, nondescript. Ranulf leaps onto the stage, as cats do, and meows, as cats do.
All right.
For his human form, Ranulf walks onto the stage with one hand in his pocket. He's a kind of cool, aloof kind of dude. And then the other one, he's flipping the Laguz gem that he uses to transform in his hand. It flies, he catches it, slips it back
Like
into
you
his
flip a
pocket, and he's
coin.
ready to go. Yeah. And he's ready to go. And that's how he transforms too. But we'll get to that.
You know what I was really hoping you would say for their entrance animations? I was hoping that, like, for
A
cat
bird flies
form,
him in or something?
no, for cat form, it's like human form Ranulf is on the stage and he transforms into cat form, just like as its animation.
Mm-hmm.
And then for human form, cat Ranulf is on stage and he just transforms into his human form. I was really hoping it would just be like as simple as that, because that would just be funny.
That's how it goes when you're on the map in Fire Emblem. I mean, what? I don't know why I didn't think of that. I felt like I needed to be more obtuse.
Let's be honest. It's because sometimes we both have this problem. Sometimes we make things more complicated than they should be, like giving a character 80 special moves.
I may change the entrance animations for that, but we'll get to it when we get to it on the wiki. God. Yeah.
All right. So for Mega Man, in the Battle Royale games, you are playing as both Mega Man and his operator Landakari, who is a human. Mega Man is essentially like his digital friend. He lives inside of his what's essentially a smartphone. He points it at a computer, and Mega Man goes inside the computer and he fights viruses and does shit like that. There's a lot more to that, obviously. But so for the interesting animation, I'm doing the animation that happens whenever you send Mega Man into your computer and he loads in. So for this Mega Man, there's going to be a beam of cyan energy that just goes down from some point in the air. The energy is going to reform itself into a human shape, which will be revealed to be Mega Man, and he'll spin around in place a couple times before he's ready to fight. So
Okay,
basically just like spawns in, spin, he's here.
Sweet. I mean, rip from the games.
Yeah,
Good.
A lot of what I do is that.
As it should be. Okay.
Kirby hat.
Kirby, this is the same between both forms. Kirby wears Ranulf's hat and his ears and his hair. And he also has a little blue cattail.
So both Ranulf forms have the same Kirby hat?
Yep.
Are they the same standard special?
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Because Zelda and Sheik have different Kirby hats.
Okay, I've got it.
I think we need to revisit some other characters we've done that are transformations, and by we, I mean you, Lucina, and Jin Sakai. We may need to look at that.
We may need to. We may need to. The way you can differentiate it here, cat form, Kirby ditches the hat. He has cat ears and a cat tail.
And probably
Human
more
form.
fur on top of his head.
Yep.
Just to make it indicate a little more.
Yeah.
And then human form replaces the extra fur with the hat.
And then there you go. Done.
The whole top and back of Kirby's body is just like fur. Just so much fur. Yes.
There. Okay.
As for Mega Man, it's simple enough. You see that if you're a video watcher, you see that helmet Mega Man is wearing, that whole ass helmet. Yeah, it just goes around Kirby's body. Simple, done.
Wait.
He just has the whole, kind of like how he has Captain Falcon's helmet around his whole body. It's Mega Man's helmet, and I guess he has classic Mega Man's helmet around his body. That would
Nice.
have made more sense than Captain Falcon. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
we're here. Taunts! What are the fucking 6 taunts you've got for Ranulf?
Lord, I do need to change it for Jinsakai. Fuck. Okay. So glad to catch that like a year and a half later. Whoops. Yeah, so there are 6 taunts for Ranulf in cat form and human form. Cat form, kind of difficult to come up with. His personality shines as a human. So we
That's
leaned
honestly
into
why, if I had made Ranulf, I would have just had to be like, alright, human form Ranulf, all the specials are cat form. Some of the smash attacks or aerials might be cat form as well, but like basic A combo is gonna be human Ranulf. That's that.
Yeah.
I would have gone easy mode with that.
I understand that. I went hard mode with it because of a previous discussion we had a number of years ago about how he might be approached in Smash proper. If you wanted to pull a slight gimmick with human transformation. So his up taunt as a cat. I did what I feel like maybe you would have done with cat taunts and just lean into the idea that he's a cat. So Ranulf purrs and scratches at his ear and grooms himself. Done. Licks his paw. As cats do. Up taunt for human Ranulf is leaning into, again, his kind of aloof nature. He lifts his arms up into the air, stretches, and yawns. Because y'all ain't good enough for him to not be sleepy fighting you.
Fair.
Yep. How about EXE?
Oh, I figured you'd go through all your taunts.
I'll go through all. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
go through all your
makes
taunts.
Okay. Side taunt for Cat Ranulf. He perks his head, notices his tail behind him, and chases it around in a circle.
A very
His
dog-like thing for a cat to do, but alright.
Yep. I've seen cats chase their tails and run on leashes. Yeah.
Never in my life.
Ranulf turns around, and then again, as a human, he turns around to take a look at his tail, and he says, "A tail is a good thing to have."
Is that an actual quote?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yes. There's always, like, I got this from you when we did the Lin move set, and you insisted on using the enemy, and then having Ike be like, "I fight for my friends," and having Marth be like, "Me not, me te tagare." There's always some cheesy shit going on with the Fire Emblem characters. So there it is.
You're right.
There it is.
Alright.
And finally, down taunts. Ranulf perches his back upwards, so like a Halloween cat, and scratches the air. He's like slightly fearful. Down taunt for human Ranulf. Ranulf kneels down, resting one arm on his knee as he looks forward and says, "Let's just take it nice and easy." Another common quote.
Alright. I also like how that's kind of taunting, too.
Yep.
So, for MegaMan.
Mm-hmm.
Up taunt. MegaMan's body is going to glow with a faint turquoise light, as if he were accessing Hub Style, one of his various transformations throughout the games, and is actually one of his most powerful, as he crosses his arms in front of himself, and then kind of like swings them forwards.
Honda forever.
Yeah.
Sweet.
The glow will fade, and he returns to the fight. For his down taunt, MegaMan is going to face the camera. He's going to hold his Mega Buster off slightly to the side, and it's going to quickly go through various transformations of the different style change Mega Busters that he gets in Battleworks 2 and 3. So it's going to go from being a heat shot cannon to a tornado fan, a bubbler cannon, and then finally a set of zapping electrical coils. Which is going to be like a very quick, rapid change between all 4 of those, where it turns back into his arm cannon, the classic Mega Buster shape, and he just faces back towards the fight. And then
Nice.
for MegaMan side taunt, MegaMan.EXE is going to point out his Mega Buster just like straight forwards to the side. There's going to be like a slight glow kind of thing with it, as if he was charging for the attack, but he's not actually charging for the attack. And he's just going to say, "Battle routine set," which is what is said at the start of every boss fight in the games.
Mm-hmm. Man, I'm so excited to play Battle Network. When it comes out on Switch, I'm going to get the Legacy Collection.
Do it. Do it.
I am. I am. I only played the GameCube one back in the day when I was like 7,
The GameCube
and
one's
then I was
not
like,
bad.
"What is going on?" Yeah.
It's a merger of the classic gameplay with the Bad Network gameplay with like the chip system, but the classic how it has its platforming and whatnot, which I was not good at.
I frequently died, and as a child, I was like, "Man, this sucks."
And you were just like, man, what is this Zantok guy like this? It's like, I don't like
No, no,
that
no.
one. Not that one. That one ain't me.
I will be giving it another shot. I
Do
think
so.
the battle systems is cool. So yeah, good taunts. Now into victory poses.
Mm-hmm.
Cat Ranulf. Ranulf runs and then leaps forward, scratching towards the camera. So it's one of those dynamic camera visuals that I like, where they come towards the camera and
Right.
get real close. And he scratches towards it and leaves a visible scratch mark effect that fades away after several seconds.
All right.
Human Ranulf. Yep, Human Ranulf number 1. Ranulf gives a thumbs up and a wink to the camera as it zooms down on him, saying, "Just give your pal Ranulf a call when you need him, okay?"
Okay.
These are all quotes. These are all real.
No, I
quotes.
believe it. I believe it.
Yep. It is Fire Emblem. God. Cat Ranulf number 2. Ranulf falls yards from the sky, so you see him falling down. And he lands squarely on his feet, as cats do, and then he just nonchalantly walks away. Number 2 for Human Ranulf. Ranulf begins to stretch, but then follows it up with 3 consecutive backflips, saying, "Didn't expect that, did you?"
Did not.
Number 3 and final for Cat Ranulf. One of Ranulf's bird Lagoo's friends grabs onto his shoulders and they fly off into the distance.
Is it just a generic bird Lagoos? Or
It's Racing, Nasala, or Tibarn in bird form.
Okay, so it can be any of those. Okay. I didn't know if it was just like, yeah, it's just one of the generic hawks. It's like, okay.
No, it's one of the more important of each bird tribe.
Fair enough.
Heron, crow, and hawk. Number 3 for human, Flame Ranulf. Raven, yeah, that's right. That's right. Nealucci, I think, was crow, and then when Nasala is a raven. Anyway, Ranulf performs a strong man pose like Popeye, saying with a smile, "Gotta get myself riled up."
Man, are any of the quotes that you've said, are any of these quotes from Heroes, or are they just from the Tellius games?
Several of them are from Heroes.
I need to go find those voice clips because I need to know how he says these. Because some of these are pure gold. Fuck. All right.
I know.
Oh. Okay. So, Mega Man. First victory pose. MegaMan.EXE will be seen spinning in place a couple times as he transforms back into a cyan ball of light that flies up off the screen. The jacking out animation for when you're leaving the internet. As his operator, Lana Cardi, will say, "Jack out, Mega Man." A second one. Yes?
There's worse things you could have said. Yeah.
Well, they call it jacking in when you go into the internet and jacking out when you leave the internet. I did not name the terms, okay? It's in and out. It's not on and off. That's all I'll say. Second victory animation. MegaMan.EXE is going to face the screen and pump his arm cannon up in the air. Not in a strong man pose. He's just going to pump his arms out in the air. As Land will say, "Great work, Mega Man."
Great work indeed.
For our third victory animation, MegaMan.EXE is going to face off to the left and fire off with the Vulcan battle chip, which is basically kind of like a 3-barrel Gatling gun type of thing. So going to take a couple shots with that. Then he's going to go to the right and turn his arm into a sword and do a sword swipe before he turns back to the left, finishing off with his arm turning into a cannon, which is not like a traditional pyro cannon. It's a cannon in the games, which is like a giant blast type thing, and he's just going to shoot off a shot with that.
Nice. Very good. I like the one where he turns into a sphere and he flies off and someone tells him to jack out.
Yes.
Very good.
Hey, it's no Steve's meat, but what can I say?
Same voice actor as Light Yagami. That's what I'll add. Good times. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's right. Yeah, you look that up, and then I guess we're getting into specials after that.
Well, before specials, we both had something that we had to say about our characters. So why don't you say what you need to say about Ranulf first?
Okay, I guess
the voice of Light is the voice of Baby Groot in some of the animated Marvel shit. Not the Baby Groot, not the Baby Groot Disney Plus show, but like Marvel Battle World, Treachery at Twilight, and Mystery of the Thanos. He plays Baby Groot. What? He also plays a character in a Barbie movie.
Oh my god.
Oh wait, it's Jin Kazama from Tekken as Light.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Jesus. He's a character in Powerpuff Girls? Oh, it's Powerpuff Girls Z. I guess that was when they did, I guess they did a Powerpuff Girls reboot at this point. Okay, yeah. Okay, he's the voice actor for Leia, not for Mega Man. Okay, in the anime.
Yep.
Okay. He was also Nightcrawler in X-Men Evolution.
Damn. He's done a lot of shit. Cool. But yes, I will divulge a certain mechanic for Ranulf. Not, it's teased already. It's pretty obvious. He's a transforming character. He uses the power of the Laguz gem, which in Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn allows Laguz to stay indefinitely in their Laguz form, or come out of it as well. So, because traditionally in these games, you have to build up a meter that builds up to transform into a Laguz, or builds down to transform back into a human. Because humans are fairly helpless, and Laguz humans are fairly helpless. They can just punch and kick pretty weakly.
Which is why we've had a debate before on how a Laguz would work.
On how it would work. Yeah, and I had said back during that debate, it's like there's a way you can make it work, and there's even a way you can make the meter work. I could see Sakurai going for the actual meter because he kind of likes that shit. I don't, so I'm not doing it. We're just doing the transformation mechanic.
Some things don't need to have a complicated gimmick.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, even like transform between Sheik and Zelda, Pyramithra, there's a moveset you prefer, so why not just stick to that one? So his extra skill is transform. Simple enough. In his cat form, let me get back up there. Ranulf kicks the Laguz gem that he slipped away, like into his fur. He kicks it off of himself like a hacky sack. Makes a flip up, kind of, and it turns back into his human form with some gold magic surrounding him in that Fire Emblem kind of warp sigil style. And as a human, Ranulf grabs onto the Laguz gem, saying, "Let's do this," and then becomes enveloped in the same gold light and transforms into his cat form. And it's a very split-second animation, maybe a second long. Done. And that's your way to slip between human form and cat form. And the differentiation between human form and cat form we'll get into with the specials.
And that's also his extra skill, correct?
That's his extra skill.
Okay. For Mega Man, I said before this character has 80 special moves. And you've probably been wondering, since I've said that, how the fuck is this going to work? And when I mentioned the part with Hero, you were probably just like, okay, but how the fuck is that going to work? Fair questions. Because I don't want to say anything wrong, I'm just going to read verbatim what I typed up over a year ago. So,
okay.
MegaMan.EXE has a special feature on him similar in design to Hero's command selection called Chip Folder. However, while command selection only affects Hero's down special, MegaMan.EXE's Chip Folder covers all 4 of his special moves. When MegaMan.EXE goes to use one of his four special moves, a menu of 5 different battle chips associated with that special move will display. These each come from a randomized list of 20 battle chips per special move. Unlike Hero, this list does not get refreshed every time MegaMan.EXE uses that special move. This allows for players to know what remaining options they have on that special move to help them strategize. Like the command selection, players want to choose which attack they want MegaMan.EXE to use after opening the menu. After a player uses a particular attack, that same option will be grayed out the next time they try to use that same special move. This list does not auto-refresh after all the attacks for a specific special move have been exhausted either. The only way to refresh what choices MegaMan.EXE has for a special move is use his extra skill to do so. For the most part, every chip has an equal chance to be randomly selected as an option for each special move. Each special move, though, has one attack called a Giga Chip that is an exception, as they are meant to be more powerful than each of the other possibilities, so they come in at a rarer chance. MegaMan.EXE's chip folder is also automatically reshuffled for each special move each time he loses a stock. That's the mechanic. Now to explain the extra skill, Chip Shuffle. This extra skill is MegaMan.EXE's primary method of changing out his chip folder for each special move. While they will automatically refresh when MegaMan.EXE loses a stock, he can do so manually by pressing the extra skill button. When MegaMan.EXE uses this extra skill, he will take a quick second to perform a chip shuffle on all of his special moves. While MegaMan.EXE can use this extra skill in quick succession, doing so causes the extra skill to take a longer amount of time to complete. MegaMan.EXE cannot cancel out of using this extra skill, however, he can be attacked while using it. If he is attacked before the chip shuffle can be completed, then it will fail, and he have to try using the extra skill again in order to shuffle his chips. So, are there questions on that? Because if there are, I need to know now so I can fix how I typed it up for later.
I understand. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I'm processing it. I understand.
It's Heroes Down special on crack.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Yeah, that's what I've gotten from it. And that's great. That's great. I mean, I'm excited about it. I wonder how many of the 80 moves we'll cover tonight.
Not all of them! I'm going to cover at least the Giga Chip for each one. And then there's just like a few others that are particular highlights to me personally.
Okay. And I thought I was wilding out with 4 moves a pop. Yeah, God.
Remember when you were going to make 4 movesets for Aeron from Pandora's Tower, and I just told you don't do that, and then I did, and then I was doing this behind your back the whole time?
Yeah.
I made 40 characters in one!
Christ, and I thought Burrito Bison was a feat.
That said, all of the attacks individually are, for the most part, not as complicated as some other characters that we've done before. So.
That's a fair trade-off for 80 moves.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
What are the standard specials for our 2 Ranulfs that we have here?
Oh, buddy. Well, for Ranulf's 79th move. No. I don't even know what he'd do at this point. Go off on a journey with his good friend. So for his
and they were roommates.
Oh my God! Imagine that. Cat Ranulf standard special called Cat Claws. I wonder what that does.
I don't know. He hits him with his tail.
Yeah, he just licks him.
Lick.
Okay. Yep.
Didn't we give Lick to Gengar?
Yeah, we did. That's a good time.
Why?
I like that moveset. I don't know. Because he has such a big tongue, it's inviting.
I think we both might have suggested it too.
I think so, yeah.
God.
Yeah, so Ranulf dishes out a powerful swipe with his claws. Uncharged, he spins around in a circle stationarily, so he's standing in place and flips with his claws. Kind of think like Super Mario 3D World, Mario, like Cat Mario, how he swipes with his claws. So he's swiping and then dishes out some decent damage and not much else. But if you time it perfectly with a shine on the move, uncharged, when he's attacking in that circular pattern, he can potentially deflect projectiles.
Okay.
Yep. When used on the ground and charged, however, he'll dash forward and using our metric system for the wiki, which tends to be Kirby's, he can travel up to 3 to 4 Kirby's in length, and it peaks at about a half charge, like a little over half like Quick Draw, and dishes out slightly more damage. When it hits an opponent than the standard just thing. If used in midair, Ranulf will travel downwards with a downward claw swipe, or upwards. You can angle it. Like there's the startup, and then you go. If an opponent is within a couple Kirby's distance of Ranulf when this attack is being used, his eyes will glimmer and he will hone in on them like Sonic's homing attack. That's Cat Ranulf.
Okay.
Human Ranulf. This is like the general approach I'm taking with the cat form. There's so much you can do with
This-
literally a cat.
Yeah.
Yep. This isn't Stray, but it's not much further from that. So there's human form. When we discussed Ranulf a long time ago, the debate was kind of like, if he were in his human form, what would he do? Because his arms and his legs are like spaghetti. There's not a lot going on with the character in human form. It's a fairly limp fighter in Fire Emblem. Even in Heroes, he only really appears in his cat form to fight. So, if I recall,
No, actually, in Heroes, all of the transformation characters, outside of like the Maniquettes, they actually can fight in their normal human forms. They will transform at the start of a turn if they are not next to any human characters. If they're next to a Maniquette or another animal character, they'll transform, and they're more powerful in that form. But they can fight in their regular human forms in Heroes.
Oh, sweet. Probably just as useful though, right?
It's you only get four units on a map, so they had to do something.
Okay, well, in this case though, we did talk about how the human form is fairly feckless, and I raised take items from Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, slap it on the human form, because that's how you survive in human form in Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn until you can. Yeah, so we've given him a few items from the Radiant games to buff up his moveset potential. His standard moves, he might not be all that strong compared to his cat form, but he has some special mechanics to himself in human form that might help people choose him. So a standard special in human form is its name will change depending on how long you charge it, because there in Path of Radiance, Radiant Dawn, there's the Spectre card, Reaper card, and Demon card. These cards, when used, look like little solitaire cards. They're essentially able to use the same wave of light attack that Ike and the Black Knight have with their holy swords. Where it summons kind of yeah. So Ranulf is holding the card like Yukimoto, and depending on how long he holds it, it charges and it affects its intensity. It starts out with the Spectre card, which releases a red wave of light and travels a couple Kirby's forward, and then it transforms into the Reaper card, which releases a purple wave and travels slightly further. And then the Demon, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, card is a light blue wave, kind of like Ranulf himself is light blue, and it travels further, and also has the ability, with the intensity of its strike, to cut through shields. There you go.
Okay. So, for each of Mega Man's special moves, it's 20 different battle chips each. I do not repeat any of these battle chips on any of these special moves, so I'm just going to go through a brief overview of some of the options for Mega Man's standard special. To start out with, we have the shotgun, which is not a classical shotgun in, America. It's like a two-barrel gun that his arm transforms into, essentially. Like a two-barrel arm cannon, rather. So for this, Mega Man is going to fire out a small engine shot from his arm cannon, which will fly forward quickly. If the attack hits an opponent or some other form of obstacle, not only will it do damage to that, but it'll also do damage to whatever is immediately behind it at an extended burst. Because the shotgun in Battle Network hits whatever your target is, and then also what's immediately behind it. So I've decided to carry that forward, because why the hell not? The first hit, though, doesn't do any knockback, because, they hit the person behind them. But, yeah. The secondary target, though, will receive the knockback from it, because it's safer to do that. There's also an aqua and fire variant of those attacks called Bubbler and Heat Shot that deal water and fire damage respectively. There's Buster Up. Buster Up is interesting. When MegaMan activates Buster Up, his side smash, which is his Mega Buster, much like how classic MegaMan has his charge shot as for his side smash, Buster Up increases the strength of the side smash to make it more powerful. And you can stack it. You can stack Buster Up 3 times in a single stock to make his side smash incredibly powerful, but it resets whenever he gets KO'd. There's also copy damage. Copy damage is interesting. MegaMan is going to fire a minuscule white pellet from his arm cannon, which flies at a blindingly fast speed. It's pretty much instantaneous. If it hits an opponent, they'll take no damage, they'll take no knockback. Instead, a glowing circle will be superimposed over them, matching the color of whatever slots that player is. So, player 1 is red, player 2 is blue, and so on. The next damaging attack that MegaMan.EXE lands on any other opponent within the next 10 seconds will deal the same amount of damage dealt to the target that was hit by copy damage. So, if I hit Mario with copy damage, and then I hit a side smash onto Captain Falcon, both characters are taking the damage from that side smash. That said, if it's a multi-hit attack, only the very first hit will be copied over, so you can't chain like your infinite A combo. And knockback is not copied over either, only the damage. And once an attack is struck, the effective copy damage will fade. There's also Drill Arm, where MegaMan's arm is going to transform into a large drill that he will lunge forwards with to get some good horizontal distance, but also it's a multi-hitting attack. So there's not much knockback from it, but opponents who are hit by it are likely to be trapped with it for the rest of the attack. First hit being the strongest, and then each successive hit, maxing out at 3, becomes weaker. There is Gaia Blade, where MegaMan will grab a large stone sword wrapped in vines, and he will swing it forward with great force, kind of like the... I can't remember what the item is in Ultimate, but there's like a giant sword. I just don't remember what it is offhand. I think it comes from Kid Icarus Uprising, though. It's very similar to that. The damage is entirely dependent on the... But here's where it gets interesting. Because this move is kind of weird in Battle Network 3. While this move is high in knockback, the damage that it deals is entirely dependent on the previous special move that MegaMan used, no matter what it was. Whatever amount of damage that previous attack was capable of doing, Gaia Blade will do the same amount of damage.
Nice.
So don't use that after you do a weak hitting attack. It's basically a way to be like, I just did something strong, let's do it again. Mini Bomb. A small blue bomb will materialize in MegaMan.EXE's hand, and he'll just lob it forward in an arc. Simple. There's also a ice and lava variant of that called Ice Ball and Lava Ball, which when they hit the ground, they're not just like a regular bomb. When Ice Ball hits the ground, it's going to create a burst of ice that erupts from the ground, which stays in place for a few seconds, which will damage anybody that comes in contact with it. And when Lava Ball hits the ground, it's going to leave behind it a fire trap that does similar. Here's an interesting one as well. Interrupt. I don't know how... I probably talked about over half of these. Oh well. Interrupt. MegaMan will fire a minuscule black pellet from his arm cannon, which flies at a fairly fast speed. A little bit slower than copy damage, but still fast. If it hits an opponent, they will again take no damage and no knockback. But whatever attack or motion that they were in, outside of Final Smashes or something like... Actually, no, yeah, outside of just Final Smashes, they'll be interrupted. It's the ultimate interrupt move. Because, there are some moves that have priority over each other, and they'll cancel another move out that's slower than it. Interrupt is only does not affect Final Smashes. Anything else, it stops in its track. Oh, you're about to fire the Daybreak? No, you're not. It's gone, bitch. It's gone. So interrupt is interesting. And it also, of course, flinches them. It also does no damage to shields or other reflector type moves such as pocket or Falcon Reflector. Villager, though, can pocket it with the right timing. So that's
Sweet.
fun. Shockwave. MegaMan will take out like a little digital miner's pick, slam it into the ground, and if an opponent is in melee unit the attack and got smacked, they'll get grounded. Otherwise, a slight shockwave effect will travel along the stage, which is capable of trapping opponents and carrying them along with it for the full length of the entire platform. But like the further they go, the higher odds they have of escaping from it, because we don't want to do a grounded stage where they just get fucked.
Right.
Sword. Simple enough. His arm transforms into sword and he swipes it horizontally in front of him. It's quick though, but it is not as strong as some other attacks. White Capsule. White Capsule is another interesting one. When MegaMan.EXE uses White Capsule, this is actually just a modifier. White Capsule doesn't do anything on its own. That said, whatever the next battle chip is that MegaMan.EXE uses will carry with it an effect from White Capsule, which can paralyze. So if the next battle chip used doesn't hit an opponent, then the effect is wasted. So if you just do like White Capsule then Sword, and the Sword carries the paralysis effect and stuns the opponent in place for a few seconds, allowing you to hit them up again. Finally, the Giga Chip for the standard special is called Holy Dream. For this move, MegaMan.EXE is going to stand in a white stance as a sparkling white energy builds up in his armpit for a couple seconds, which references, another character who has holy powers in the games. Once the energy is done being charged, a large laser, comparable to, say, Thoron or the Daybreak, is going to rip forward as it stretches across the stage. That said, it is a weaker version of Daybreak, so it's not going to be that strong. This move can trap opponents in it, but it does not deal as much damage or knockback. And after a couple seconds, the laser will peter out and dissipate with the one final attack hitting any opponent that was caught in it, which can send them flying off to their death. So it's kind of like it goes straight forwards, it hits to be in that line, and they stay there until the laser is all the way gone, and then they get sent off. That's some of his standard specials.
Ooh-wee, good lord. There's some interesting stuff in there.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. What was it was copy what? Copy
damage.
Copy damage. That is an interesting move, and interrupt working in a similar way. I thought those were some real highlights. Lord, that's pretty neat. And of course, again, like everything is great. Gaia Sword is pretty cool. Yeah, cool. What was I do? Oh, yeah, is Ranulf.
Yeah. Ranulf side specials. What do you got?
Okay. So for his 98th move, Ranulf's cat form, he has Cat Fang. And once again, he just looks you. Ranulf leaps forward in an upwards half arc. So kind of like Wolf using his
Wolf Flash.
illusion, whatever. Yeah, Wolf Flash. But just like boink. So he leaps up in that upwards arc, and unlike his Cat Claws, Cat Fang, he dishes out a considerable bite once it connects with an enemy. And then, like some other moves from Hero, for instance, there's a potential for landing a critical hit with this move. If that happens, the camera dynamically zooms in for a quick moment, showcasing the critical hit, and it leaves opponents dazed in an effect like can when your shield breaks.
Okay.
And that happens for a few moments. There's a little bit of startup lag. It's a little easy to telegraph, but overall, it's a pretty significantly damaging move with potential for critical. And he can also dash forward, bite a foe, and then immediately chain it into another bite. So if you're with less lag, so you bite somebody, then you use the input immediately afterwards. And you can drag it left or right as well. So it's kind of like a laggier quick attack from Pikachu.
Okay.
That's more potent, like a sideways version of it. And then I almost forgot I was presenting another side special because I was focusing too much on like, man, there's a lot of Mega Man moves. Side special on Human Ranulf is pretty simple. It's Torch. It is a torch from Fire Emblem. Torch is traditionally used to break through the fog of war. I was thinking about using a mine, which would have been funny because it would have been lined up perfectly with MegaMan.EXE in one of his standards. But instead, I went Torch because it's a little more unique in the scope of things. I feel. So Ranulf takes a torch, he throws it forward in an arc, and it catches the area that lands upon a flame, and it slowly spreads like a Molotov. Like fire spreads slowly throughout the stage. Can go. I didn't write down a fair distance, but I'm thinking like maybe half or a little more of battlefield, maybe at the overall scope of it if you let it burn. And it also can clear up smoke, like from a smoke bomb or fog on the fog of war stage.
God, I hate that item. It's just so stupid.
Yep.
It does nothing.
No, it does not. And Torch invalidates it because it's so dumb. That's Ranulf. Okay, I'm going to book out the next 20 minutes for MegaMan. Let's go.
It's interesting. You said that you were considering giving Ranulf a mine and thought that would be fitting considering MegaMan. There is a battle chip called Mine, where MegaMan will randomly place a mine in one of the panels of the enemy's field. And depending on the game, it can do like 200 or 300 damage if they step on it. It's very powerful. I did not involve Mine as part of MegaMan's moveset, however.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry if people were hoping for that. But
80 moves.
80 moves! Honestly, there was a part where I had difficulty. I think up special was hard. Up special was hard to get chips for. Because obviously this is not a series that has like upwards mobility at all. So I had to invent a little bit for the up specials. But side specials first. Starting off, wide sword. I mentioned how MegaMan has a standard special where it's just sword, where it just like does a nice, simple horizontal sweep. He also has wide sword on his side special. For wide sword, the range is longer than the regular sword. It's actually a little bit deceptive because it doesn't look like it would hit that long. It'll hit about 1.5 Bowsers away, and it just does a single swing as it goes. It's a better sword. Straight up, it's a better sword. It also carries with it 3 elemental variants of Aqua Sword, Elect Sword, and Fire Sword, which deal, water, elect, and fire damage respectively. There is Air Hockey, where MegaMan.EXE will throw down a large hockey puck, which will quickly slide across whatever surface it is thrown upon. Think of it as a faster green shell. And it also hits harder than the green shell as well. It's a better green shell. But you can't like stomp on it and stop it. It will bounce off of anything it moves, and it's prone to flying off platforms if there's nothing to stop its path. It'll just go like, boom, gone. If nothing will stop it. But if it hits an opponent, it'll hit them, and then it'll bounce back. Obviously, it doesn't last forever, but you could do some nice chaining with that. There's another set of 3 elemental moves. I'll explain one of them here. Aqua Tower. MegaMan.EXE is going to place his palm against the stage as a jet of water bursts out in front of him, equal to his own height. This water will not just damage opponents who are hit by it, they will also be sent straight up into the air. When the water from this tower recedes, a second jet of water will appear in melee distance next to the original tower, but it's only going to be half of MegaMan.EXE's height and does less damage and less knockback. There's also a fire version, Fire Tower, and a wood version, Wood Tower, which looks like a large wooden spike. Aqua Whirl. A swirling, watery tornado vortex will surround MegaMan.EXE and carry him forward in the direction of the side special. So it's, a quick draw type move. If MegaMan can make contact with an opponent, they'll get sucked into the vortex with him and take multiple small hits of damage and be carried around, but it goes up to a maximum of half a battlefield. Blizzard Ball. Here's an interesting one. With this attack, MegaMan.EXE is going to kick out a large snowball, which seems to have some junk sticking out from inside of it, including such things as a pair of skis. a stray battle chip or two, or even a broken PET, which is what they call the device that their navies live in these games, which is basically their smartphones. Just so we're clear on terminology. Here's where this move is interesting. If this snowball runs over any items or fighters, we're going, what's the game called? What's it called? Prince of all Cosmos?
Katamari Damacy.
We're going Katamari Damacy with this move.
Mm-hmm.
If the snowball runs over any items or fighters, it will pick them up and add them to its mass, which increases the size of the snowball and the eventual damage you'll deal at the end of the attack. Things that get picked up on the snowball will be seen poking out of it on the edges. And if it's characters, they might look fucking terrified or like they shit themselves. You don't know. Items that get picked up by the snowball will also be removed from the field once the attack is over. However, there are some items like the real Smash Balls that cannot be affected by this move. When the snowball item makes contact with a solid wall, or reaches the edge of a platform, or travels as long as battlefield's length, it will explode out, dealing damage and knockback to any fighter that was trapped within it. This damage will scale with as many things in how large the snowball picked up, and starts out at a minimum of 6% damage and a maximum of 40%. And to be clear, it's that when it reaches the edge of a platform is when it will blow up. So it can't just like send players sailing down to the edge. It won't just kill them like that. Although again, I'm assuming they probably have to come up with something for grounded stages as well. Otherwise, that's an instant death too.
Mm-hmm.
Boomer. Not that kind. MegaMan grabs a large metal boomerang, hurls it forward, it cuts through the air. It's slow, kind of, as it flies forwards when it circles back. Its speed does make up for the fact that it deals a high amount of damage, making it stronger than Link's boomerang. But, you know, you can see it coming fairly easily, so you can get out of the way, hopefully. It will try to fly back to MegaMan, but if he's not able to catch it, it just clatters against the stage and skids before it disappears. Magnetic Bolt. Another potentially interesting one here. His hand will transform into a large magnet as it pulls in any fighter or item that are nearby towards MegaMan.EXE. This electrical-based vacuum effect has a range relatively equal to the range of a smart bomb, which is honestly kind of a lot. But hey, you have to have some of these that are powerful, right? If an opponent is pulled in too close to MegaMan's moves, if an opponent is pulled into melee range of MegaMan's magnet, they will be damaged and then knocked backwards into a crumple state. Additionally, if there's any opponent on the field who is currently under the metal effect, then the range of this attack becomes universal for them. So no matter where you are on the stage, if you're metal, you're getting pulled towards MegaMan. They'll also be pulled with greater force than other opponents, and will take more damage than non-metal opponents. The added effect does not apply to any metallic items, such as just like if there's a metal box sitting on stage, it doesn't get pulled any greater. And characters that are naturally metal, like Rob or classic MegaMan, are not affected by this additional effect either. We have here, what's another one I want to talk about here? Again, I don't want to get into too many of these. Let's do Salamander. Flames will rise up around MegaMan.EXE and surround his body. He launches him forwards, with the flames around him transforming to look like a dragon. MegaMan.EXE will quickly fly forwards for a couple seconds in a straight line. However, with the control stick, you can kind of like alter his flight path a little bit. If it makes contact with an opponent, there will be a small explosion of fire as both MegaMan and the opponent are knocked away from each other. So it's kind of like a flying quick draw that you can glide in, like similar to old Brawl gliding mechanics, but not that good. Not that much gliding.
Right.
Step Sword. MegaMan gets a sword in his arm. He will teleport in a straight line forward up to a distance of about 2.5 Ridleys away, and then he will slash with his sword. So it's not just in front of him. He's here, now he's over here, now he slashes.
Nice.
It has the same range and damage as the wide sword battle. No, it has the same range and damage as the wide sword battleship. It's just like you teleport what's in the middle there. And if an opponent is closer to MegaMan than what his full range can meet, he'll just stop in front of them. So if you're only here, but the teleport take him here, he'll just stop in front of you and then hit you. And then afterwards, he goes back. I think. No, he doesn't go back. I don't have him going back. I consider it, but he doesn't go back. Yo-Yo. A large bladed yo-yo is going to fire out from Mega Man's hands, which will fly forward in a straight line about half the distance of the battlefield, and it's got metal blades, so it's spinning the whole time it's going. It hits people the whole way through. When it's at its maximum distance, it will kind of like hang there, and then it'll come back. So, kind of boomerang-ish, but straight line. And then the Giga chip for Mega Man Side Special is called Big Hook. Mega Man is just gonna do two hooked punches in front of him, just two punches. There's nothing added to that. He just punches. But when he punches, a gigantic mechanical fist will fly in from the background and swing into the foreground, followed by a second fist that swings in from the foreground and then into the background. These are the fists of Duo, the final boss of Battle Network 4.
Sweet.
Duo used this attack in the game, and then Battle Network 5 decided, let's make it a battle chip based off of that attack, because hell yeah. It's a good chip, too. It's good.
Jeez.
So it's like two massive fists that are each about the size of Bowser. The first fist happens a short distance from Mega Man, and the second fist happens a little bit past that second fist. So if somebody's in front of Mega Man, you can kind of chain them a little bit together with two gigantic fucking fist attacks.
Sweet Lord, Bayonetta's blushing.
Yeah. Except her attacks are just a straightforward giant hair bunch. This is coming in at you from the background and the foreground. Left and right hook.
God. Well, highlights for me were that one, the snowball one, the magnet one was pretty cool. That's what I'm calling them right now. That's what my brain is processed.
Blizzard ball, magnetic bolt.
Those ones, yeah. Very, very, very cool. I like that they're 80 special moves, but you're not skimping on trying to find ways to make them unique. So that's pretty.
To a degree. Again, I have things like the different elemental versions of Fire Tower, Aqua Tower, and Wood Tower, and the swords. But it also wouldn't feel right if I had only one of them. Also, it'd be really hard to have more attacks if I didn't.
Yep. Well, who doesn't like a good Wood Tower? Let's.
But it, the Battle games also most chips have a tier system where there's canon, then there's high canon, and there's M canon, which is just stronger versions of each other. I didn't do that because it's no.
Yeah, I gotcha. So onwards to the EP specials then, eh?
Yeah, let's go.
That'll be interesting to see on EXE because, as you said, not the traditional playstyle for Battle Network. Yeah. Up specials here. Ranulf, I think, move 104. His up special as a cat is. There's a trend here. It's called cat wings, as most cats have.
Does a bird pick him up?
Yeah, that's right. So a bird goose. I mean, it's happened in some of the cutscenes in Fire Emblem. So I'm like, okay, it's canon. Let's do it. It's like rescue, which is a canon technique as well. So a bird goose grabs Ranulf by his shoulders and careens him up in the air in a circle, like that. The intensity at which they fly and how far they fly depends on the bird. This is where Racin, Nasala, and Tabarn come in. Racin will fly more slowly and eloquently into the sky. Nasala is kind of a mix between him and Tabarn, brings it up a little higher, kind of like a all-around, like a Mario kind of thing. Status and eloquently, and then a bruiser. Tabarn is a bruiser through and through. Huge hawk, just and there's even some green wind magic turbulence that comes up from the ground as he's picking Ranulf up.
I thought
so from least to most,
I thought Tabarn would be the shorter distance, but be more damaging, while racing would be like minimal damage, but take you up higher.
That could be it too. I had it be the opposite though, and that's just kind of it is what it is. I see the justification for either route though. So,
Yeah.
For his up special as a human though, we have catapult. No zesty quotes on this one, but and he doesn't bounce on his tail like Tigger either, unfortunately. But the pun is intended. There's no hyphen, but that could be changed. This actually also involves other Lagoose cameos. So one of the larger Lagoose characters will appear in their human form beside Ranulf. Some of them will chuckle a little bit. Some of them will be a bit more stoic. But they take him by his shoulders in human form and just yeet him up into the air.
Skrymir would fucking love it.
Yeah, that's.
I imagine Mordecai being the more stoic one.
Yeah,
he's just like,
Skrymir is
why? Why am I here?
The move can be angled and charged, allowing players to select kind of like the general landing point. It's kind of like telegraphing a warp star, as well as its intensity. So it could be angled and charged. So these characters are all very strong, and they can throw it about the same length as opposed to the Heron Uprising. There might be little differences. Like Mordecai might be a little less strong than Skrymir's throw. But Skrymir, yes, he is very into it and belly laps as he throws Ranulf into the air. The characters that I have listed down, there could be more, but the ones that I thought of immediately were Skrymir, Mordecai, Gifka, and Deginsia. Throw a dragon in there for good measure.
Remind me Gifka's tribe.
He is a lion, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, he is.
I don't remember Gifka. Okay.
He's like Skrymir and kind
of
of
wolf representation. Yeah. This is Nyla erasure.
Yes, I want to actually. We'll get to that. We will get to that. There is wolf representation in Ranulf, though. We'll get there.
There's only 2 wolves in Tellius.
Yeah,
it's Nyla and Volug. That no other ones exist.
Z-Hark is an honorary one. That's about
it. All right. Mega Man. Let's get this done. Up specials for MegaMan.EXE. First off, we have Air Shoes. Air Shoes is an interesting chip that it lets Mega Man float over the panels in Battle Network. So if like there's a hazard, you can just walk over and be like, this is nothing to me. So for Smash, Air Shoes is going to apply a passive buff to MegaMan.EXE, which will do two effects. First, and perhaps more useful effect, is that MegaMan.EXE will be hovering a short distance above any platform that he is standing on. Point behind this being that he will be unaffected by any ground-based traps. These include Isabel's Lloyd Rocket, our Muck Pokeballs that we made in our Pokeball Palooza episode, the Banana Peel item, the Pitfall, anything like that. He is unaffected by any of these things. If there is some effect on the stage, like say from Tingle, that increases the rate of tripping, he won't trip. He's floating over the stage. Why would he trip? Additionally, Air Shoes will give a buff to MegaMan.EXE's jump height by a small amount. This buff, however, will only last until MegaMan.EXE gets KO'd. We also have Air Shot. Mega Man's arm cannon becomes an air cannon, which we will point downwards and fire out a blast of air, which propels him up into the air a short distance. When he reaches the height of his jump, he can fire a second air shot, kind of like how Robin can fire 2 Elwinds, which you can tell with the control stick and, you know, kind of adjust them in opposite directions. Air shot is very much Elwind.
Yeah.
Listen, 80 special moves. I needed help. Standard special had sword. Side special had wide sword. Up special gets long sword. Longsword, it's going to be very similar to Marv's Dolphin Slash. He's going to jump up in the air. He's going to swing his sword twice. One of them about midway through the jump, and the second at the height of it. The first swing is going to be horizontal, while the second swing is going to be vertical. And then there are some elemental variants of it, being Aqua Blade, Elect Blade, and Fire Blade, which do, the associated damage you would expect. Area Steel. MegaMan.EXE's body is going to flash into inverted colors before he disappears. MegaMan.EXE will then reappear a moment or two later in whatever direction the player is holding the control stick at the time, making this an omnidirectional teleport. Interestingly, this is actually coming from the anime. In the games, the area steel, I've mentioned how the battlefield. You've probably seen some gameplay, I think, before. There's a 3x3 grid that's yours and a 3x3 grid that's opponent's, and you cannot cross into each other's areas. Area Steel will steal the first chunk of the opponent's area and turn it into your color, so you now have a 3x4 grid. In the anime, since combat doesn't work like that, they just made it a teleporting move. So it's like, that'll do. Mm-hmm. Which, interestingly, the first game, and I think the second game as well, also has a battle chip called Escape that lets you run from battle. Yeah, in the first game, you had to use a chip to run from battle. That sucked. But I turned this into an up special. This move will see MegaMan.EXE disappear in a puff of smoke and reappear about 3 battles away in the opposite of direction where he was previously facing / moving. So if he was jumping up and he uses Escape, he's going to appear down. If he was falling down to use Escape, he's going to appear up. Crazy shit.
Nice.
As an added effect, if MegaMan.EXE was holding an item at the time he uses battle chips, that item will be dropped where he was previously at. This may not mean much if you were just holding onto a ray gun or a fire bar, but if you were holding onto, say, a Deku Nut or an X-Bomb, then when you drop it, the item becomes activated. So now you just dropped the bomb and vanished.
Jesus. Ninja man.
Yeah. Double jump is another passive buff, kind of like air shoes, with a different effect to it. When double jump is active, MegaMan can perform an extra jump in the air, which has a relatively small jump with a tiny bit of air coming out of his boots. It also, again, only lasts until he gets KO'd. Double jump actually comes from the GameCube game Network Transmission. Because it's a platformer, so it's just like, what if we gave him the ability to double jump? But only when you use that chip. Otherwise, you only have a normal jump. Fountain. A geyser of water will sprout out from below MegaMan, which will launch him and anybody right next to him up into the air. Besides MegaMan that gets carried into the air, will not go up as high, but they will take a small amount of damage and be in a state where they can easily be followed up for a brief second. Then there is Hot Body, where rings of flame will enreef themselves around MegaMan as he's propelled upwards into the air. Opponents who make contact with him will be knocked away and be hit with fire damage. And there's also an electric variant called Ring Zap. Mold.
Nice.
MegaMan.EXE will activate this chip. He springs up into the air with a shovel in his hands, because that's what the mole enemies in Battlework use to attack. Think of this kind of like Bowser Jr.'s out special, where he gets that hammer. Yeah. Tap the special button, and he will swing the shovel, kind of like that hammer, and it hits for a heavy amount of damage and knockback. Simple enough with that. Rope. He takes a large rope. It's not really a rope. It's like a plant vine. They just call it rope. It's a tether recovery. Yeah. White Web. White Web is kind of like Pac-Man's trampoline. A sturdy-looking spider will appear beneath MegaMan's feet and bounce him up into the air. This works while he's on the ground or in the air, but it is more effective when he's in the air. The spider web will begin to lose some of its sturdiness after he jumps off of it, and it will remain in place for up to 5 seconds instead of like how Pac-Man is, where it will last for 3 jumps. So anybody can use it for 5 seconds. Wind. A wind box virus, which basically think of it as a giant fan that's pushing air upwards, will appear below him, and it's just going to push air up into the air for 10 seconds. So anybody that jumps over, it's just going to be like, can just like ride wind, and just be hovering in that spot. So it's kind of It's just like a gentle jet stream of air that's constantly pushing up any character or item until it runs out. It will not, though. Oh no, it will, in fact, actually assist trophies and Pokemon who go over it, which would cause some interesting effects for some of them. If this is used in the air, the wind box will fall straight down, kind of like Pac-Man's hydrant, and that's capable of meteor smashing anybody who is below it. So, kind of deadly. The wind box can also be attacked. It has about 30% health, so if you want to destroy it, you can.
Sweet Davy Jones.
The Giga Chip for the special is called Omega Rocket, which is based off of an attack that the final boss of the third game does. The standards, the Giga Chip for the standard special, by the way, is based off of the secret one of the secret bosses from the third game as well. But for Omega Rocket, a fucking rocket will appear. Mega Man's gonna latch onto it, and it's gonna quickly take off after a little bit of lag. Kind of like, the rocket's gonna be like starts to build up and then it shoots straight up, kind of like rockets do.
Mm-hmm.
It'll then quickly take off and fly up a short distance in the air before it explodes with a large AoE of damage to hurt surrounding players. So it's actually not much for vertical recovery. It's more just like get a little bit up in the air and then kaboom.
Right. So that was a good one. I like the box one, the water one, the area movement one with the inverted lights and the thing. Yeah. This is where I would have quit with this moveset, making 20 up specials, whether one of them is Elwind or not. I'm glad Robin can consult you on this matter. God. This is more, yeah.
And again, like, I'm only skimming these. Like, there's a lot that I'm not mentioning. Like, I didn't talk about Tornado or Tank Cannon or Quake. I didn't mention any of those. But they'll all be on the wiki, so if you want to read all of them, you can.
That'll be a project of mine. It's also giving me ideas to torture myself in the future with a similar character.
Don't!
Maybe.
Don't.
Maybe.
This character, granted, I could have finished them sooner, but it did take me about a year to actually finish them because I got tired at some point. I was like, okay, I need to work on other things. It took a lot. I get that. If I didn't start them until like after we had finished Chrono, which is usually how I do, I don't work on the next character until we finish a character. Sometimes I'll work one character ahead, but I could not have done this for MegaMan. When we decided on what season 3 was going to look like, I knew I had to start on it right then.
Good lord, yeah, it's a cool project and one I imagine you're only going to take on once.
I did mention I have another character that's going to kind of take a twist on this mechanic, but it's only going to be about like a quarter of them. Actually, it's half the moves.
That's fair. And then you have Charade, who technically has all the moves. Like
it may not even be half the moves. Like when I make that character, I might just do less
for your sanity's sake.
Also, just because like how to make each of their moves a little bit more distinct is going to be a little bit more difficult.
Bless you.
But down special time. Yeah. What's Ranulf have?
Okay, Cat Ranulf. Down special is Ward Beast.
It's not Cat something?
Shockingly not.
Where's Cattail?
He has one. He already referenced it a couple times.
Wow. It's tail erasure.
Yeah. It fell off like a lizard. This is gonna make some soup. Like
no.
This is an AoE boost in Fire Emblem Heroes, where essentially if he's near enough people when he's using it, he get a stat boost. Simple enough. It doesn't work that way in Smash. And as down special as a cat, being Board Beast in Smash, Ranulf lets out a guttural feline growl, yeah, like that. And that kind of like jet motor sound effect surrounds himself in an invisible field of air. Yeah, kind of like
Sonic waves.
Yeah, like sonic waves. And then, so if the field touches, a projectile or even a melee attacker or simply an opponent, it will absorb the blow of the projectile or attack and then strike them back. So the projectile goes deflecting backwards. The melee attack, actually, it's basically a counter kind of situation. Or if it just hits an opponent, it'll push them back. But where the interesting part is here is that Ranulf will receive a stat boost equivalent to the amount of damage that he would have been dealt had he not deflected it. So, say that he's hit by Warlock Punch. His stat boost to his strength, defense, and speed, it's an overall boost, will be significantly higher than if he were just hit by one of MegaMan's Buster Pellets. So, yeah, and during the duration of the boost, he's bathed in a light blue light, again denoting his character. And again, depending on the intensity that also of the attack that he absorbed, that's also reflecting on how long his stat boost has been given. So a potent attack will give him a potent boost as well as a potent duration. That can be troublesome to some individuals.
Yeah?
Yeah. His down special as a human is Shine Barrier. It's a interesting item in some Fire Emblem games. I think Awakening, but Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn as well. It's this little bit of light magic you can throw on the ground, and it summons a barrier of light that makes it impossible for an opponent to move on that space. In Jonno Smashtopia, Ranulf grabs onto a Shine Barrier, but he holds onto it instead of tossing it to the ground. So he's surrounded by this magic. A light magic barrier goes a few feet above his head as well. And so long as the Shine Barrier is active, the lights will gently spin around Ranulf and it'll protect him from projectiles. He's able to dish out attacks as usual, but as projectiles are deflected, foes will also have a heck of a time trying to jump over the barrier to get a good hit in, because that's the only way that they will be able to attack him. Sans a final smash. But after several seconds, the Shine Barrier dissipates, and Ranulf cannot use it again for up to 30 seconds.
Damn. Okay, I was wondering, like, there's got to be a big drawback to this, because this is fucking OP.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can he still be melee attacked, or does it only stop projectiles?
He can be melee attacked, but not through the barrier. They're going to have to break the barrier by jumping up over it, or potentially, dishing out enough attacks against it first.
Okay, so you can brute force through it. Probably like a Bowser, yep. A Dorial is going to do it.
Yeah, that'll do.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. There's my 2 down specials. What's your 20?
Well, first of all, we have anti-damage. Anti-damage is a fun chip in the Battle Network series. So it's one in a series of chips that you can activate, and they kind of like go into the background. But then when something triggers them, an attack occurs. For anti-damage, if MegaMan, after he activates this, well, I guess I actually worked it differently in for Smash. It's a counter technique now. So MegaMan is attacked if MegaMan.EXE is attacked when he uses this move, he will disappear in a flash of smoke and then reappear slightly above, where he will throw out 3 Kirby-sized fucking shurikens. So massive ass shurikens are being thrown here at the attacking foe. Each shuriken will deal, somewhere around like 8-11% damage, somewhere like that. And it will track towards the opponent to a degree that hit him. So if they try to run away, the shurikens are going to try to follow them, but once they're thrown, they just fly in a straight line. If they stick into a platform, they'll stick there and stay there for 30 seconds, making them deal with small damage when they make contact with them. Then we have Anubis. A giant, well not giant, but a roughly a Mega Man size Egyptian-looking statue of Anubis. Not like Egyptian or Anubis, so like kind of Egyptian style, but of like the Anubis statue from Battle Network will just like appear in front of Mega Man. And it begins to spew out poisonous fumes from its mouth, which surround the statue, kind of like the poison cloud that surrounds Ashley. The Anubis statue can be destroyed with enough damage, but until that point, it will continue to spew out poison for 5 seconds, dealing consistent damage every second to any opponent who is standing in the fumes. We have attack plus 10. When this battle chip gets activated, MegaMan.EXE will get a 10% boost to the amount of any damage that all of his attacks do for the next 20 seconds or until he is KO'd. Now, 10% may sound like it's a lot, but 10% honestly, what's 10% of 10? 1. So a 10% attack does 11% damage now. Big whoop. Even a 30% attack is only going to get an extra 3%. But those extra 1 and 3% can stack up.
Yeah, they can.
Barrier, a very classic move from Mega Man. A translucent blue barrier will completely surround Mega Man, protecting him from attacks. And while the barrier is up, he will take no damage or knockback from any attack. Exception being to things that carry with them wind effects, like Wispy Woods on the green stage or the Gust Bellows item. Additionally, these wind effects will actually rip away his barrier. So if Mega Man has barrier up, use Gust Bellows on him, and the barrier's just like gone. Actually, it's just completely wiped away. It doesn't exist anymore. This is because there's a wind effect in Battle Network that can occur with some things that will rip away barriers like that. Additionally, the barrier can be attacked and destroyed. The barrier has 10% health and must be destroyed before Mega Man can't be damaged again. Overkill damage is also soaked up by the barrier. So if you hit the barrier with a 16% damage attack, Mega Man doesn't take that extra 6%. The barrier absorbs it all as it's destroyed.
Sweet
then we
Jesus.
Then we have Bolt. A large lightning, well, not a large lightning bolt, but a bolt of lightning will strike down from above in a similar manner to Pikachu's Thunderbolt, but without the cloud. This lightning bolt will strike a short distance in front of Mega Man instead of, centered on him like Pikachu. Fighters that make contact with the bolt at any point will get electrical damage, of course, and it can also be used as a nice anti-air attack for that similar reason, but here's the main purpose for it. If an obstacle or a larger item is struck by the lightning bolt, such as a mobile sprout on the Magic Can stage, or a party ball, that object or obstacle will become electrified. So anyone besides Mega that touches it gets hit with electricity. Grass stage. There's a few of these stage tips that are interesting. A field of lush and luxurious green grass will sprout up on whatever platform Mega Man is currently standing on. This grass will heal any fighter who stands on it at a rate of 2% every second. The downside, however, is that this is grass. How do you get rid of grass? Fire. If someone is standing in the grass while they are hit by a fire boost attack, they will take double damage from the fire.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah. Similarly,
it's like Pokemon.
Yeah. Then there's lava stage, which will cause boiling lava to cover the platform the Mega Man is standing on. This lava can be removed by water's attacks at anybody who is standing on it, or is just above the lava even. Mega Man, though, is immune to the lava. And if you're standing on the lava and you get hit with a water attack, guess what, bitch? Double damage! And then there's Ice Stage, which, again, similar. It covers that platform in ice, which, has a small chance it will deal damage to people that step on it, besides Mega Man, of course, and a small chance to freeze opponents that make contact with it. The ice can also, cause slippery movement, so be careful with that. And hey, ice can be removed by fire, but fire isn't the extra thing that can happen here. Instead, if you're hit by an electric-based attack, double damage. Now, grass, lava, and ice stage obviously cannot be used while you're on the air because there's no platform to use it on. So there's that. Invisible. Hey, you remember the cloaking device item from Melee?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. It's that. You're invisible for 10 seconds. Enjoy.
Sweet. I will. Thank you.
Leaf Shield. This Leaf Shield is different than classic Mega Man's Leaf Shield. This Leaf Shield doesn't protect you from knockback. It doesn't protect you from... It's a very quick counter. It's not even a counter. It's just like a very quick shield technique. Whereas classic Mega Man can create these leaves that can protect you from attacks and you can shoot them forward, out.
Yeah.
This attack only is active for a single second.
Sweet boy.
And while I said it doesn't protect you from knockback, if you get hit by an attack, it will reduce the damage to 0% for 1 second. So damage immunity for a single second. I think one of my attacks does that for knockback, but I'm not... Oh, there it is. We'll get Stone Body. It's pretty much the exact opposite of this. It protects you from knockback instead of damage, with the exception being things like Final Smashes. Stone Body, MegaMan cannot move. He encases his body in stone. Leaf Shield, I guess he wouldn't be able to move for that one either. I mean, if he was... Well, no, I think he'd be able to move for Leaf Shield, but for Stone Body he can't. Like, he's stuck there. Muramasa! Here's a fun one for the Battle Network series. This is a chip that, where the chips usually will say how much damage they do, Muramasa says, question mark, because in Battle Network, the damage that Muramasa does is equal to the amount of damage that MegaMan has taken from his maximum hit points. So if he has 500 hit points and he only has 100 currently, Muramasa does 400 damage.
God.
That said, that's a small range, both in Battle Network and in Smash. So MegaMan will swing out a katana, the Muramasa blade, which is dripping with a dark aura. And it does equal damage to the amount of damage that MegaMan has currently taking, capping out at 100%. So if he has 300% damage, it's still only going to do 100. But the range is only the basic sword range that he has on his basic sword battle chip. So it's just straight up in his face melee.
Right.
Pawn. Battle Network 3 has a chess-themed boss. And they also give you 3 chess-themed chips. The pawn, the knight, and the rook. So this is the pawn. A pawn chess piece, the size of Mario, will appear in front of MegaMan.EXE. This pawn cannot move, and is effectively a barrier from attacks. However, again, it can be attacked and destroyed. While the pawn is on the field, any time that MegaMan makes an attack with the A button, the pawn will slash forwards with a sword range move, dealing a small amount of damage. So you can just, like, be somewhere else completely on the stage. It's just, like, tap A a lot, and pawn's just gonna, like, keep swinging. Pawn will only last for 6 seconds, though, so it's not here indefinitely. Recover 30. MegaMan heals 30%.
There you go.
Rock Cube. A cube made of rocks appears. And that's all it does. It's literally just an obstacle that appears. So you can kind of use that in combo with Bolt. Create a Rock Cube, and then use Bolt if you've got that available for you. Rock Cube has a high amount of hit points, though, so it will take a while for you to be able to break it. But it will automatically get destroyed if MegaMan is KO'd. Tries to make another Rock Cube, which the odds of that are pretty low. Or 15 seconds have passed. Shield Guard. A curved shield will appear in front of MegaMan.EXE and just fly forwards in a straight line. This shield does no damage, and it deals no knockback either, but it's constantly flying forward at a fixed rate. It will block projectiles that strike the front of it back towards their source with no increased total damage. And if you're just in front of it, it's just going to push you. Simple. And then finally, the Giga Chip for MegaMan.EXE's down special is actually the ultimate mode that he unlocks to power himself up against the final boss of the first game. This is hub.bat, which is a program that he unlocks for himself. Oh, I need to change my text there because I called this up special in the text for that. And edited.
Whoopsie.
Hub.bat is interesting because when MegaMan activates it, he'll be surrounded in a light blue Super Saiyan-esque light, which will persist around him for 10 seconds. During this time, MegaMan.EXE is going to be under several effects, including the Air Shoes battle chip and the Stone Body battle chip, which... Is that what I meant to have? I might have to... I need to check my thing on that, because I'm not sure if that's supposed to be Stone Body or not. But I'll have to double check that when I look at the chips. So he's going to be under Air Shoes, so he'll have that floating above the stage. His attack and movement speed are going to be increased. And when he accesses his chip menu for any of his special moves, he will see 8 options instead of just 5. Hub.bat gives you a lot of abilities when you activate it in Battle Network. I could not transfer all of them over to Smash, but I transferred what I could, and I need to go double check if Stone Body is supposed to be one of them, Because that doesn't sound right. Let's see. What does the wiki say? Does that actually do stone body? That's why I gave it stone body.
Mhm.
I don't. No, wait. Stone body is one that protects from knockback, not from damage. So yeah, no, I'm okay with that being stone body then. He'll take no knockback for those 10 seconds, and he's able to run around. I'm good with that.
Nice.
I feel it was the no damage one was like, don't know about that, but no knockback, that's fine.
Right.
So that's my down specials.
Good lord.
Some of them.
Good lord.
I skipped a few.
Right. Very cool. Again, besides the Giga chip, I also recall fondly the elemental spaces. I think that those are really neat.
There's a lot of elemental stage ships in Battle Network. I didn't want to do too many of them. I picked the more common 3. These are the ones that are most well known.
When you said the electricity counters on the ice, I was like, is there going to be an electrical space now?
No, there actually isn't an electrical stage. The closest that exists to is metal stage, but that's just like making panels unbreakable. And again, if you're on metal, you take damage from electric. So it's like,
okay,
what?
Got it. Metal stage all over Skyworld's platforms, though. But yeah, that's again really something. Like, holy cow! God.
I love Battle Network.
I can't wait to. Yep, we made it.
The next game I had to record for the series is my favorite in the series, so I'm looking forward to it.
Nice. Which one is that?
5.
Okay, excellent. The one with the swinging hands that you can use.
Actually, yeah, that one first appeared. That chip first appears in 5. I think it's also in 6. But yeah.
Nice. Final smash time.
Final smash time. Let's go.
Okay, let's go. For Cat Ranulf's final smash, we have the Beast Stampede. Cat Ranulf he's standing in place. He makes a very loud. Yep. Looks up to the sun and the moon and the stars. And he's like, yeah. That's about that. And then suddenly, the screen shakes, and from both sides of the stage,
wildebeest come running down a canyon, and a small young lion.
No, that's the stage. We'll get to that. A multitude of beast lagoons. Cats, tigers, lions, bears.
Oh my.
Wait, there's no one else. Oh my. They come.
Where's the? We need a bear transformation character now. We've got a fucking giant rabbit in Awakening. What the fuck? Where's the bear? God damn it! And when in their human form, it's just like a really scrawny kid. Like imagine Donald turning into a bear. God.
Actually, Devton as a bear. That was certainly the feud anyway. So again, Beast Lagoons funnel in from the other side of the stage. They run all around the ground area. Ranulf can do like whatever he wants during the move. You see Skrymir, Laith, Lyre, Mordecai, Gifka, Kynagus in
Nyla.
And Nyla. Yes, in these forms, running around with a bunch of generic lagoos. They're jumping, they're clawing, they're doing all sorts of random shit. And it grounds opponents, it knocks opponents back, it dishes out a bunch of damage in a short amount of time. They eventually all just run away rather, not fly, God. And that's the move. Simple enough, I think. Then, so if you're up on a higher platform, of course, it's kind of like keep away, because your job as Ranulf will be kind of to just throw the opponents into the mess. For the final smash on human form, Ranulf.
Human Stampede. Ranulf summons the human forms of all the lagoons to the exact same thing.
That would be pretty freaking great, but it's actually Beast Regalia. Ranulf snaps his fingers, and Skrymir jumps forward in his lagoon form and attacks an opponent, thus entering a cinematic. Ranulf, standing beside Skrymir, says, "Let's give them all we got." They're both transformed into their lagoon forms, and then we get that cinematic from Radiant Dawn where they're all running, like they're running towards the Benyon soldiers, but instead of Benyon soldiers, they are the fighters that were caught into the cinematic. And so the Beast Lagoos appear again with Ranulf and Scrimir and all the guys, and they stampede over them in CGI form. And it's a CGI version of the attack, essentially.
All right.
Kind of like Yoshi Stampede.
Yeah.
Yeah. Simple enough. Final Smash from MegaMan.EXE.
So, my 20
There's
possible
20
final
more.
smashes. No, God, no. There's only one. There's only one.
Okay.
A concept that I haven't really covered so far is in Battlework there's such things called program advances, where if you use three or more specific chips in a certain order, then they will combine into a more powerful attack. So for my final smash, I'm going with one of those program advances, and I'm going with the most recognized one, partially due to the anime, but also because in the games it's one of the easiest to get, and it's called Life Sword. So, the 3 sword battle chips, Sword, Wide Sword, and Long Sword, will appear above MegaMan.EXE's head as his operator Lane Hikari is heard saying, Sword, Wide Sword, and Long Sword, Program Advance, Life Sword. As these words are said, a large sword made of crackling cyan energy will form in MegaMan.EXE's hands as he holds the blade high up into the air. I'm pulling this straight from the anime. Once ready, MegaMan.EXE will swing downwards in an arc capable of covering 3/4 of the entire battlefield stage if you're sitting on like the far ass edge of it. Any opponents caught in the attack are dealt heavy damage and knockback, sending them flying away. Obviously. The angle that they're knocked back on is determined by what part of the sword swing they were struck by. Opponents that are hit head on will get sent straight in flight back. If they're hit early on, they'll get knocked up in the air. If they're hit towards the end of it, they get sent down. So, not a cinematic, it's just fucking that giant sword swing comes out quick. Covers a huge amount of space.
Nice. It's like a cooler version of Kirby's Final Smash.
If Kirby's Final Smash was just one hit and then trap people, yes. But Kirby's is like a wide slash, and then it hits them a lot. But it's basically that first hit, just bigger.
Yeah, that's neat. That's a big old fancy way to top it off.
Yeah.
Looks cool.
You know how you were concerned before the podcast started about how long it takes to get through that? It ain't even 2 hours.
That's bizarre. And we already talked about our extra skills too, so I guess we're just going into other skills if we have any. And
do you have any unique traits for Ranulf beyond the obvious, like any wall jumps or anything like that?
Yeah, in human form he can wall cling, but he'll gradually slide down the wall because he's a weakling in human form. In cat form, he can wall jump and wall cling without a problem. Also, his human form can swim better and last longer in water than his cat form because cats don't like water.
That's fair. That makes sense to me.
Yep.
I did not give MegaMan any of these unique traits because he already has a lot going on, and he doesn't need more. If I was going to give him anything, it would be a wall jump, but I don't think it's necessary.
It's not. I guess we talk costumes then?
Yeah, costumes. You got anything specific for Ranulf, or is it just going to be like color swaps?
They're color swaps that are reflective of other Beast Lagoos. So again, your Lath, Lyre, Mordecai, Gifka, Scrimir, Kynagus, Wolag, Nyla. And for the 10th, I have Ranulf's personal beast, Ike. Give him color swap similar to that. Bada bing, bada boom. Same for the human form and the cat form. Figure you can swap them up enough to give them the differences in the body shape. And there's no other Lagoos that would really make sense to cop off of. I mean, these are the Beast Lagoos. So there you go.
All right. So, Mega Man, you know how some characters will have like 5 colors of one outfit and then 5 colors of another outfit? Or I guess 4 and 4 because Ultimate only has 8 costumes. For Mega Man, I decided that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me. In Battlework 2 and 3, you had the style change system, which will have Mega Man be in either where you can obtain either Guts, Custom, Team, or Shield style, which all have some differences to his look. So, like, obviously, like Shield will have like a little buckler shield on his arm, and other things. Guts, his arm looks a bit more like a heftier fist. So for Mega Man, I decided, all right, your first two colors are gonna be your standard. So there's the normal blue Mega Man, and then there's hub style colors, which can be more of a turquoisey. Costumes 3 and 4 are gonna be some of his gut style. The number 3 is gonna take on a red color for like heat guts. Number 4 is gonna be a pink variant of that. 5 and 6 are custom style. Number 5 specifically being Aqua Custom, so it's his darker blue Aqua Custom colors. Whereas Alt 6 is going to be a purple version of that. Alt 7 and 8 are based off of shield style. 7 is specifically wood shield, so it's a green outfit for him. And then its color variant is going to be gray. And then the last ones, 9 and 10, are going to be based off of team style, with 9 being specifically elect team colored, so yellow. And then the 10th color version, which is going to be an orange version of team. So it's kind of like how Sora has 2 colors for each of his costumes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it made sense.
It does make sense. Got some cool variations.
Yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Last thing to discuss with these characters are home stages. Now, I'll go ahead and mention this, that for MegaMan.EXE, his home stage has already been discussed on the podcast. When we did our stages discussion back in Season 2, I created the Cyberworld stage, which is based off of the internet and Battle Network. At least I think I did it in that episode. I'm not sure. No, I thought I did. But it's a very large stage with like a lot of platforms on it, and different boss characters from the series can appear and be hazards doing some attacks. But what do you have for Ranulf?
Galleon Rush. We're taking that moment from the CGI that I had mentioned and turning it into a stage. It's a very memorable, iconic moment, seeing all of the Lagoos and a commanding force come together to fight the human forces. So I figured it would be because I like making these events into stages for Fire Emblem, like we did LT and Exile.
You've done LT and Exile, and then you did Attack on Fort Alpia for Ike.
Yep. So why not for Ranulf? So we're going the cinematic kind of route with it. So when you mentioned the wildebeest and Simba, it's not that wrong. And so I haven't workshopped it entirely out of my head yet, but I'm going to upload it around the time I finish writing Ranulf and put him on the site. So it's going to be relatively soon after this episode comes out, if not beforehand. And it's essentially my vision for it is big blue but cats.
Okay. No, I mean that tracks to me.
Yeah. So I've had this stage in mind for a long time. Pretty much the second that I said I was doing Ranulf for this episode with you, again over a year ago, we decided on this. So it's time, and I will mention my 365-day challenge for this year to release a Smashtopia submission for every day of the year. Ranulf justifiably will not be counted on there because I already said at the beginning Supercast for the stuff will not take part in the count since they're special. Galleon Rush will, because fuck that shit.
No, yeah, I agree. Galleon Rush should count. We're not covering it on the podcast, so it's off podcast.
It's like an honorable, almost like showcase-esque mention.
Yeah.
And bada bing, bada boom. There we go. There's Ranulf and there's MegaMan.EXE.
There they are. The circuits and the claws.
Oh my god. I can't believe that went as smoothly as it did with as much going on as there was.
Yeah. Because you were concerned that we might have a long one. I was like, we might, but fuck it. We just did 5 hours in the last episode. Oh, fucking
and
well.
Thanos was there. He got to sleep on my bed. Yeah.
I probably could have detailed every attack for MegaMan.EXE, but I wanted to make sure we didn't go too long, so whatever. The attacks that I skipped over, there were a few that I probably could have mentioned. Like, I think Fire Hit might have been one I could have talked about. But something like Cannon, I didn't need to give details for Cannon. It's a basic projectile shot. I didn't... There's some things, but, again, if you want to read all of them, they'll all be up on the wiki before this episode is uploaded. So go check it out if you really want to see
an enticement.
80 special moves.
Oh god, this is definitely one I think we should tote around to friend group too and see if anyone wants to buy
Man.
it because it's a feat.
As soon as we tell them there's 80 special moves, they're gonna be like, "I'm not reading that." It's like, that's fair. That's fair.
I will.
Fair.
God.
Oh
I'll
man.
do my service.
But that is another year of us doing Smashtopia submissions. We finished up once more with our solo ones. So it'll be interesting to see what we do for our solo next year. We've talked about a couple things, but it's not solidified yet. We're waiting to see. We're still debating what we want to do for the next year's finale. But this year of Supercast Brothers is not yet over. There's still one episode left. The Tournament of Champions 3. We are once again going to discuss all the characters that won our previous Smasher Dashes, putting them into a tournament bracket, and seeing which one of them we want to see the most. So we're going to have Gino, Amaterasu, Beautiful Joe, Dante, Makoto Naegi, Manny Calavera, KK Slider, Blathers, The Castle Crasher, Bill Overbeck, Prince of all Cosmos, King of Hyrule, Dr. Wily, Albert Wesker, The Lemmings, and Tony Hawk? Hey. We'll have a guest on, like we did last year, because we learned our lesson from the year one, and it should be a good, chaotic time. Hopefully our guests can help break some ties.
They're going to have to.
They're going to have to.
We'll drag them through it.
We will murder them. What?
Oh, nothing. Wink, wink.
Wink.
Both are leading towards future events, that's all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I'll see you all then. Bye, everyone.
Azurda.